What is everybody? Today we will be talking about how you can become a six-figure blockchain developer. We'll be chatting with a blockchain developer by the name of Lem about how he became a blockchain developer, making over six figures, and how you can become one too, even if you're a beginner. Before we get into it, go ahead and smash the like button, subscribe for more videos like this, and of course to thank you, here's a cute puppy. Hey Lem.
Hey,
How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Hi everybody. So today, guys, we're talking about how to become a six-figure blockchain developer, right? So, but basically, me and Lem will speak about the future of NFTs. We'll speak about the future of blockchain. He himself is a blockchain developer. He is an epic blockchain developer, and he is gonna talk about how he is gonna get a new position at Gala Games, is that correct? And what he's going to be doing there, and how he transitioned from Web 2.0 and Web 3.0. And at the same time, just like what are the benefits of making that change, and why should you make that change, So that's kind of the thing. So Lem, how are you doing so far?
Great. We're doing fine.
So Lem, tell me a little bit kind of about yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and tell us, what you've been doing for all these years, the past, I guess you could say, I'm not sure, 10, 20 years at this point you've been coding. And, let's just start with that. Tell me a little bit about how you got into coding and what brings you here.
Okay. Well, immediately I'm gonna date myself a little bit, because my first experience coding was on a Commodore 64, with one of those really giant books of BASIC.
Oh wow!
That came with the system. I was about 10 at that time. It was a computer that my uncle had kind of gifted to me.
No way.
But it changed my life, right? Like the first time I loaded up a game on the computer,
Mm-hmm.
I was blown away that you could do something like that. And it kind of I still remember the book had how to write BASIC, or the basics of BASIC, or something like that.
Uh-huh.
And I was so excited. It had been explained to me that that's how computers, that's how the brain, you talk to the brain and told the brain to do things. And that's how you could make games and do all kinds of stuff. And, immediately, I was wide eyed, and I wanted to see what I could do. That's basically what led me into coding. And
that's awesome.
I've been doing it since then. It's been like 30 years now of writing code.
Yeah, so quite a long time, a long process. Now tell me, from the transition of the Web 2.0, right, to now being in the Web 3.0 space, what is the difference now, right? You were Web 2.0,
right.
Now you're fully in Web 3. What difference do you see?
I mean, honestly, besides a different back end, right, like of dealing with the blockchain, the biggest difference I see in dealing with Web 3.0 and just like the people in the companies Web 3.0 is the community.
Mm-hmm.
It's so I didn't, the first time I heard the term we're all gonna make it, right.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, what's this, right? Because you're not kind of used to that concept, but it's one of those things I had to, I finally adopted after really meeting the right people.
Yeah.
And finding the right communities and realizing that Web3 is a space where it pays well and there's money moving through it, but ultimately, even before the money starts, right? It's the community that really draws you in, and just meeting the people that are all kind of striving towards this goal of decentralized internet. It's really cool. Really cool, and that's what really got me into it. And I hope that answers the question.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, for me personally, I believe the fact that Web 3.0 is the future. The way we've been doing the past 20 years, where we are at right now is pretty much 1999 is 2000s of Web 3.0. I feel like personally, right? And it's only, I feel like, gonna keep going up. It's only going to keep being driven forward because there's so much that still has not been invented yet. right? We are still in such early stages. Like, the Google of Web3 has not been invented yet. The Facebook of Web3 has not been invented yet. All of those are just, it's all still just ideas to be created. And that to me is the most exciting part.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me, Lam, right? What made you switch into Web 3.0 fully?
I think the thing that really got me to switch over to Web 3.0 fully was was CryptoKitties.
Really?
When I first saw CryptoKitties, and I saw like games that were based when I first saw games that were based on this this blockchain thing that I kind of heard of. I got into it a little bit. I was I found out about them when Ethereum prices had kind of gone up, so I could never really get into CryptoKitties, but the concept of the blockchain based game really like it blew me away. I was like, okay. It kind of like I had a semi understanding of what you could do with the blockchain and what you could do with the technology.
Yeah.
Until I really started seeing people just having fun with it.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, so this is what it can do. Like this is like an application that's going to stick. And I mean, sure enough, here I am today.
And how long ago did you start?
I started dabbling. Okay, so we can all go, well, I first heard about Bitcoin, right? But like I started really dabbling in about like 2017, 2018 when
Uh-huh.
I wrote my very first like very, very not well understood Solidity contract.
Insane. That's crazy. That's crazy to think about. It's and how honestly blockchain has honestly it doesn't feel like it's so old, but honestly it kind of is at this point. I feel like, right?
Right. Well, it's moved so fast.
Yeah, it's just moved so fast, especially in the past year or two. So
Yeah.
tell me, Lam, right now, okay? So you switched from Web 2.0, Web 3.0. We'll exactly talk about, how you made the switch and everything. Tell me now, where are you at right now? What do you do right now so people can get understanding? Because there's a lot of people who just came in. We have 24 people. Hello, everybody. Good to see you all. Where are you at right now, right? What position are you currently at? Do you currently have? And what are you currently doing in the blockchain space? Tell me.
Sure. So, I am taking on the mantle of I'm a full stack Web3 developer. That's the position that I'm taking up at Gala. I mean, what I do currently is I launched. Sorry, just lost my words there for a second.
All good.
I launched NFT projects, NFT sites. I write a lot of Solidity, a lot of Solidity.
Mm-hmm.
Like Solidity has become like one of my new favorite languages. Although starting to pick up a little Rust.
Yeah. For the Solana
yep.
game, Yeah, and it's actually, me and Lam have actually been working on NFT sites as well. So me and Lam, we've been building a few NFT projects. One of the recent projects that we've been working on was with a company called Rens. You guys can check it out. It's called Rens Original. It's an epic project where actually if you buy like their hoodie, they get an NFT as a result, which is a really interesting way to get NFTs because that requires something called gasless transactions, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And why is that different? Why is that different than normal transactions? And what's so cool about that? I'm curious.
Sure. So normally whenever the blockchain is, I call it pay to play, right? Like, in order to make a transaction on the blockchain, there is at least for Ethereum based blockchains, right? There's a thing called gas, right? Every transaction that you have, there is a bit of there's a gas fee that has to be paid to get that transaction across the network.
Yes.
And so what's really special about this is that when the customer when they get they purchase the hoodie,
Mm-hmm.
the actual NFT comes to them, and they don't have to pay that gas fee, right?
Exactly.
So we worked it out so that the gas fee is actually covered by like almost like a tank, right? A
Yeah.
tank
A
that in
middleman,
the
pretty much
background.
like a middleman, pretty much.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, a middleman that takes care of it for us. And so what the customer sees is they connect their wallet
Mm-hmm.
and they get the NFT. So it's a great way to onboard people into the space,
Yeah. Yeah.
because one of the big issues that people have is in order to to get that NFT before, they would have had to not only go through getting a wallet, and there's that kind of entry knowledge that you have to have.
Yeah.
But then they also have to go to an exchange. They'd have to do the
Yeah. There's
KYC
the
process.
process is so
They'd have to do
big.
all of
Yeah.
it, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. But with this, we get to cut it all out, and we get them right on board of like, hey,
Yeah.
welcome to the blockchain. Here's an NFT for you.
Yeah, pretty much, pretty much. And I remember when we were working on this, it's not an easy task to do. like, like for
No.
us to get that done was so difficult. There were so many frustrated nights, so many things where it just wouldn't break. Because if you think about it, it's a middleman, right? Like there's something called a trusted forwarder, and what a trusted forwarder does is basically it's the middleman that pays for the gas fees on behalf of the customer. And if the trusted forwarder is not right, or if you set that wrong, then everything breaks, and you just have no idea why it's doing that, and the errors you get are just pretty shitty, you know. But we figured it out, we killed it, and it's gonna be live. I think April 26th. I'm guessing. I think they're going live, which is going to be an interesting project. So if you guys are interested, by the way, those of you who are here and being part of an amazing project, look up something called, Ren's Original. Check them out. And we also have so that's going to be really exciting, honestly, for us. Let's talk about how do you become a blockchain developer, right? How did you become a blockchain developer? What are the first things that you had to learn to get to that? Because like it or not, right now in the blockchain space, everybody is new, right? Everybody's technically a beginner because everybody's just learning right now. Correct? And so
Yep,
what
that's
did
absolutely true.
Lam, what did you do to get into this space? Tell me.
To get into the space, honestly, what I did is, I mean, for me, right? Like, since we're talking to people who want to get in development,
Yeah.
the very first thing that you have to have is like your fundamentals, right?
Yeah.
Like, you have to um, really um, actually, I'm going a little off tangent. I have a little bit of ADHD, so like, that's another thing, right? Like, don't let anybody tell you what you can or you can be, right? Like, I have severe ADHD, and I still became a developer, right? Like,
Yeah.
so it's totally possible. But that said, caveat. Um, I think that the really the first thing that you need to do, or the first thing that I did, I'm sorry, the first thing that I did is because I'm a seasoned developer, I went to Ethereum stage, right, and I just started looking. No, the first thing I did,
Uh-huh.
and totally not sponsored, but I went to Whiteboard Crypto on YouTube,
Oh
and
yeah. Yeah.
I started just doing research, right? Like everybody in this space says, do your own research, but it's so true, right? Like you just have to start gaining knowledge, leveling up a little bit. Like it's hard to program for the blockchain before you know what the blockchain is, right?
Yeah.
So like you really have to go for your fundamentals before you can really get started. And that's what I did.
Yeah.
I took a couple of weeks and I just crammed knowledge, right? Like
Yeah.
I go, what's a blockchain? All right, well, what's DeFi? Like
Mhm.
I just asked all those questions.
Mhm.
And as I kept going, I started becoming more comfortable with the terminology because there's a lot of terminology and stuff coming in.
Yeah.
There's a lot to learn, but just a day at a time, a little bit at a time.
Yeah.
Just a couple hours a day of really expanding your knowledge in the field, right? In blockchain, is the great first step. Once you have that, then you're not trying to learn two things at once. You're not trying to learn the development and the terminology and how things work. Well, I guess that's two things at once.
Yeah.
And how things work at the same time.
Exactly. Yeah, I think if you feel like the blockchain space is so confusing. And when I say by confusing, there's so much to learn that you don't even know where to start. That's how I felt like in the beginning too, right? Like I transitioned from a Web 2.0 to a Web 3.0 space too. And there's so many things people throw around. NFTs, DeFi. And like what at some point I was like, what is the hell is DeFi? They threw around, projects, or they threw around ideas. What was it like? Like dApps, right? And how everything's gonna be blockchain and all these different words that honestly made no sense to me initially, right? But when I made a transition, because a lot of you guys might know me, I have worked with a company called Clever Programmer before, and I fully transitioned to Web 3.0 space. I would say about 7 months ago or 8 months ago, and I've never looked back, and I will never look back because it's been such an amazing time of learning this space in general, right? And one thing I realized from this is you cannot get ahead of yourself here. It's really dangerous to get ahead of yourself. What do I mean by that is if you try to learn everything at once, if you try to learn what DeFi is, all that stuff, all at once, it's going to confuse you even more, right? I think the biggest thing is what Len, you're saying is to learn the fundamentals first, right? Learn what is blockchain. How does blockchain work? How do transactions even happen on the blockchain, right? Like a lot of people think, oh, blockchain is just some vivid thing that, it's got a bunch of blocks. I guess you can think about it, right? But what makes it special? Right? That's the question that we all have to really answer to ourselves to understand, the fundamental topics. And once you understand those fundamental topics, then you can really start to see, oh, okay, the NFTs are actually useful in this. Oh, you can actually do so much more than just NFTs in this space. So that's kind of my take personally on that. What do you think about that, Lem?
Absolutely, 100%. 100%. Just little bits at a time.
Yeah.
Right. And don't get discouraged because it's just going to take a little time. It's just every day looking a little bit up.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely.
And let's give everybody some actual information about like some valuable information how they can get started, right? Do you know what are some valuable websites you can get started on to start learning this kind of stuff? Do you know specifically?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like one of the sites, I'm a very visual person. I'm an artist as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I love the visual aspect of things. So I tend to go to and refer people to Crypto Zombies.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it's cryptozombies.io,
mm-hmm.
and it's literally it'll teach you how to make your own game, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in the same time, it'll teach you Solidity, and it'll teach you a lot of the popular mechanics that behind like basic NFT contracts. So
yeah,
a really really good resource.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's a great resource. Mainly for me, honestly, like the way I kind of learned is I actually went to Udacity. Udacity, they have a pretty expensive course there, but I kind of got some of my basics from there. That was pretty good as well. Of course, you can learn from Udemy as well, but there's also a lot of amazing YouTubers. For example, one of the amazing YouTubers who talks about this is something called DApp University. So guys, check him out on YouTube as well. I'm doing a lot more things on YouTube as well. So I mostly teach NFTs though. I teach more so how to create, NFTs on the blockchain, how to run NFTs on the blockchain, right? How to create NFT projects. So that's more so my space. So if that's what you're interested in, just, you can follow me at Naz Dumansky on YouTube as well and Instagram. So both work. So that's my main thing is the NFT space. And of course there's other ones like Whiteboard Crypto is an amazing one. Right? Eat the Blocks is an amazing one. Right? So just some great resource. And all you guys have to do is honestly just start with learning those fundamentals. And once they've learned fundamentals, okay, let's just say they know how Solidity works, okay, what's the next step someone should be taking to actually apply that knowledge? What do you think, Lem?
So the next step really to start applying the knowledge is really like is building your first project.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even building your first project, but like, well, actually, yeah, if you're trying to learn Solidity, right? Then it's time to get your development environment set up, and of course, there's always Nas is saying, like Gap University
Mm-hmm.
and those guys, like they really will, and even Nas here, right? Like they will, they'll really help you get your environment set up and and get you to compiling that first Solidity project,
Mm-hmm.
because it's that very first project, that very first aha,
Yeah.
in getting it done, that really sparked me.
Yeah.
Granted, I say all of this, and because I come from like a pretty heavy coding background.
Uh-huh.
However, I would honestly, I would super suggest though that before you get into Solidity itself, make sure that you're a little bit more comfortable in JavaScript.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Because
Yeah.
JavaScript is very, very useful. It's not even very useful. It's like it's fundamental in the build process of
Yeah.
in Solidity. So really, you want to make sure that you're solid there. So honestly, once you understand what the blockchain is, it's time to buckle down and learn what programming is.
Yeah.
Um, I
100%.
mean, and that's work. It's work. Um, there's let's see, where places I'm trying not to get like too off topic. So
Mm-hmm.
reel me back in if I do.
Okay, for
So
sure. You got
uh,
it.
so there's there's places like even if you want to see if JavaScript is something that's for you, there's great resources for learning the basics and the basics of just programming online. Like
Yeah.
I tend to tell people to for like a really high level overview
Mm-hmm.
to see if you're into it. Check out freecodecamp.com. Right, like
Yeah.
they've got some great JavaScript courses
Yeah.
and coursework that you can work through,
Yeah.
and that'll get you caught up in JavaScript. But once you have your JavaScript, and that'll take you through your programming fundamentals and your JavaScript, and then once you get there, it's time for blockchain and Solidity. So I say all this, but at the same time I want to press to go back to what was said before. Don't try to do it all at once.
Yeah.
Right? Like this is a process that's going to take time, but in the end, it is worth it. It is very worth it. Um,
So Alem, I'm curious. It's how has your life changed since you've gone to Web3?
I'm much happier, actually. Like I say that because I mean I've met people that have that have changed my perception on community since coming into Web3, right? Like I've met friends that that are irreplaceable in my eyes now, right? Like, but I didn't know that kind of community
Mm-hmm.
existed until I got into Web3, and that's the thing that kept me here as I was learning was the people that I was meeting in the meantime. Like everyone else who's learning too, who also has this mindset of we're all going to make it, right? We
Yeah.
have to put in the time,
Yeah.
and that's really what kept me going during my learning process. I think I forgot what I was talking about at the beginning. That's okay.
No, I mean I agree with you. You know, that's one of the things I realize in the Web3 space is, everybody's still so new and everybody's very much open to talking to you, to listening to you, to helping you out, right? And it makes me excited because we are just a starting point. The people who are getting into this are the ones building the Web 3.0 space forward. You know,
Exactly.
we are pushing the Web3 space forward, and so it's like to me this is the most exciting portion because I get to, well, personally, I get to teach people around that. So I get to teach people who are just starting out, right? Because I teach Web3, I know how to build NFTs and stuff like that. And to me, that's exciting. To me, it's exciting because I know there's not a lot of developers right now. If you guys look at
Hmm.
some of the stats, there's only 18,000 developers right now in the blockchain space.
Yeah.
Just so little, you know?
Yeah.
And it makes me really happy and excited that we, of course, between actually building projects, we're also some of the first to teach people how to get into Web3 space as well. And so we're kind of pioneering this new field, in
Hmm.
terms of how it's going to look like and how people will be using it, and that's exciting.
Oh yeah.
That's
Oh yeah.
exciting to me.
I love that I mean, it's a blessing and a curse that the infrastructure really hasn't been written yet.
Oh no.
Um, because like we get to be here to do it, right? Like it's us, it's the people in this what is this Twitter space, right?
Yeah,
That are deciding on what the future looks like for the
yeah,
web.
yeah,
It's being written right now, and
yeah,
we are fortunate enough to be here right now to witness it
yeah.
happen. And that to me, it blows my mind every time.
That's amazing. I love it. I love it. I love it. So beautiful. So now, Lem, let's talk about. Okay, so we're talking about getting to the beginnings of JavaScript. We're talking about getting into kind of Solidity and making sure you understand that portion of the side, right? Once you learn the JavaScript, I personally think, and correct me if I'm wrong, right? Like one of the biggest things that I've gotten into blockchain is honestly right now is NFTs
Oh yeah,
personally for
yeah.
me, right? So for me it's about creating NFT projects. So that's what me and Lef have been working on. That's what we've been doing. That's what I personally do on YouTube. you know and
Hmm.
the reason why NFT projects are so good, because one, it's hot right now, and two, because it's a good transition between Web 2.0 and Web 3.0, I feel like.
Exactly.
So the way I think about it is because NFT is so artistic based, right? And it will actually excite you to be part of it. And I feel like that's what gets people, that's what makes blockchain sexy.
Yeah,
Personally, I feel like that because, if you just think about blockchain, it feels like it's a boring terminology. There's some
yeah.
blocks, there's some transaction hashes being created. We send some money through ETH, in some places. And so to us, it's boring as shit, for lack of a better term. But when you
Right.
bring in NFT art, plus you bring in, finances, right? It's I know Ghost is laughing at that. That's amazing. When you bring that in, it's such a much more interesting space, and you're actually excited about it now.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
so if you're a developer, you're someone who's getting into this space, you're getting into the blockchain space. My recommendation would be to, like, okay, learn the blockchain, learn JavaScript, learn Solidity, and actually maybe just build like a test NFT project for yourself. And you'll see exactly, because one, you get to write a Solidity contract, right? Two, you get to learn how to put something called IPFS, which is decentralized storage. And you get to build something that's very valuable because you can actually do this, and you can actually do this and then do this for other clients, and then have this be actually your job at some point.
Oh yeah. And actually, I'll let you in on like a little bit of inside knowledge
Oh
too.
shit. Okay.
Right.
Okay. I'm pumped. Okay. Let's go. Let's see. What is it?
NFTs are the reason that I was able to actually like. I fully believe that NFTs are the reason that I got the position that I did. The
Really?
work that I did with NFTs. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Like we talked mostly about my during the interview process. We talked mostly about my NFT experience, right? Like because you're absolutely you're 100% correct, Nas. NFTs are like they're hot right now, and it's like it's the use case,
Mm-hmm.
that a lot of people are finding. Oh, I see a hand up.
Yeah, how do I do that? What do I do? Oh yeah.
I can talk.
Oh, go ahead,
Hey,
Richie. Go ahead.
nothing. I just wanted to also just mention that. So I work in advertising as a front end developer, and it's a small team as far as like the development side goes. And we typically just build like I don't want to say just Web 2 websites.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
No Web 3. But it could be whatever flavor that the client asks. So, WordPress, or maybe just some sort of headless CMS, because that seems to be the thing now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. So something that our clients have really been asking us lately is what's going on with NFTs and the metaverse, and no one's ever really asked us. At least phrased or used the words Web 3,
Yeah.
but for sure, definitely like and just some of our clients are kind of big, and yeah, it's crazy. It's so on our team it's only 2 developers, and
Uh-huh.
we're getting bombarded daily on just these questions. And I recently made this if anyone's used it, Spatial IO is like this platform where you can like just quickly spin up your own little, like meta world,
That's
where it's just
cool.
like your room or something. But I made one for our agency, and anytime anyone asks me about like if they can ask me a question about the metaverse,
Uh-huh.
I send them a link there, and we meet in the metaverse.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That
But
sounds.
no, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to derail the conversation. But yeah, I definitely agree that like so many questions about NFTs lately,
Yeah.
and that's why I'm here. I'm trying to just learn as much as I can
That's good.
because
That's
I'm making,
good.
yeah,
No, I agree. It's like it's same thing for me. Once I got into the Web3 space, once I got into especially the NFT space, you know, so many requests start to come in. Honestly, and just me showing up, the fact that I do NFTs, the fact that we do NFTs,
Yeah, yeah,
so many requests of people coming in, to do NFTs, to build any free NFT project, and of course, it might seem like it's a gold rush now. I know everybody's rushing into this, trying to get it done as fast as possible, like cash the grab, do the cash grab, so forth. And some projects, yes, do that. But there is a long-term solution to this. There is a long-term actually viewpoint in this. Like for example, one of the projects we're working with right now is called All In Trading Group project. So it's basically like an all-in access pass, which is a pass into their whole platform, right? And they're doing a DAO application, but they also teach crypto. And so it's so cool because what they're doing is they're using NFTs as a way to raise funds for the DAO, but also as a way to get people into the crypto space. So they're using it as almost like an access pass. That's just one example. Coachella, for example, Coachella is now actually doing an all-in access pass for Coachella. NBA is about to do an all-in access pass for NBA. So it's becoming this VIP slash access that we never could get before, and that to me
yeah,
is exciting.
very true.
Like imagine being a part of a Bored Ape Club. Imagine being part of that, and you get to meet so many amazing people from there. Like, oh my God, I would buy an NFT. Like, I mean, right now I can't, but because it's like almost $1 million. But there's many clubs just like that, who are just a little bit cheaper. Yeah, and Ghost, go ahead. Yeah, you raise your hand. Go ahead. What's your question, my friend?
Yeah, I wanted to touch up on what you just said too. I think not only the access for these large Bored Ape type things, but you can provide access for like smaller groups, smaller local physical galleries, smaller school events that when you have kids having to have an NFT to have access to this sporting venue, or that access to this material, access to getting supplies. I think if you look at like what Bored Apes did with the store,
Mm-hmm.
opening up, and it's like you start to see like the blockchain technology is more than just art. Art brings people in first, right? Now you have music coming in.
Yeah.
You have content, and the way I look at it is like content was traditionally king, right? And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden distributors came in, like the Spotify's and the all of the distribution channels, the YouTubes or the Instagram owning your content, and this blockchain kind of has opened the gateway to creating different types of NFTs. So I think the thing that's so beautiful about it is the access that it provides. And like Kuma was saying, for me, I just became vice president of one of the top agencies in the world, and every day the clients are just like, how do we get in? What do we get in? What do we do? How do we do it? It's crazy. And they don't know how to play in the space. And I think it's important for us who are in the space to kind of like guide them and be like, nope, that's not how you do it. This is how you do it right. How do you do something that's better for the space as the space grows, because it's so new and it's developing so fast. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I think.
It's
Go ahead,
definitely
Richie.
more of like a help educate and how to progress the space and capitalize on it. 'Cause
Yeah.
that seems to be the motive for
Yeah.
a lot of projects.
I mean, like it or not, money is always going to be a good a motive, right? But money is also what grows things, right? So it's like, yes, it might seem like, oh, but a lot of people just come this for the cash grab. Yes, but it's also a good motive to actually build this space out, right? So at some point, yes, we will have a space that this will be a lot more built out. It will be a lot more, we'll have hopefully a lot less, what are those called? Pump and dumps. No, not pump and dumps. What are those called? Rug pulls, stuff like that. And this space will be a lot more mature. Right now, it's just like it's like a playground, and so that's what I feel like why we really haven't figured it out just yet.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so awesome, guys. I mean, so many amazing. And by the way, guys, if you guys do have questions, feel free to just raise your hand, or feel free to just request to become a speaker. We'll love to bring you on, just how I did to Richie and Ghost. And I'll love to, looks like Gideon. Let me see, add as a speaker. Go ahead, my friend. Gideon's gonna come on and ask a question here. And like I said, guys, if you guys have a question, just let me know here on the. Go ahead. Can you speak, Gideon? Can you talk? Or no? Or yes? You just have to click the mic, Gideon. The mic is muted right now.
Yeah.
You get it? No? Okay. All right. When you're ready, just let me know. In the meantime, let's continue on, right? So, Lem, you said that for you, NFTs is what got you into, your current position, right? At Gala Games, right?
Yep.
It is what brought you into it. And I'm just curious, what do you feel like you'll be working on? What is the most exciting part for you to be working, in the NFT space, now in the Web 3.0 space, moving it, going into Gala Games and so forth?
Yeah, I mean, just where I've been able to, just the things I've been able to do so far, right? Like, the space is just starting, and I'm already able to build, building NFT projects has gotten me into the gaming space, right? Like, this is something I've always wanted to do.
Yeah.
So now I'm integrating NFTs in games, right? But I mean, there's so many other areas that I'm gonna derail just a little bit more, and to go back on just the importance of the technology of NFTs, the technology behind NFTs. Like, it's so simple, but so groundbreaking. Oh man, my battery's going low, but it's so simple, but so groundbreaking. I'm just gonna plug myself in here real quick.
You okay, Lem?
So yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just plugging in my phone real fast. Sorry, guys.
1% left.
Yeah. Okay. I made it. All right. So simple, but so groundbreaking, right? There's so many applications. So right now, I'm working with games and NFTs, right? I could be working with music and NFTs. I could be working with, supply chain and NFTs. Like, there's so many areas where this technology can grow and expand, and we're just seeing, like the fun, like the really fun visual, like first things to catch on aspects right now.
Yeah.
And I get excited because I see how much room for growth there is. Right? Like people, like you were saying, like there's cash grabs, there's rug pulls, there's all kinds of there are those actors, but at its core, right? At its core, the things that we're doing right now, we're setting up the groundwork for. Like I tell people all the time that I'm setting up the foundation for what my son's going to be using.
Yeah,
Right?
that's true.
When he gets into the computer, right? When he starts doing finances, right? When he starts interacting with with the network, with the internet, right? Like we're just starting. We're just starting, and to say yes, there is a little bit of a grab going on. There's a little bit of a bubble, right? But that's just one aspect,
Yeah.
right? Like that's just one area. There are so many areas that we're going to grow into, right? So like anybody like who on, I don't want to use like black and white terminology, but I feel that a lot of people who are saying that like it's this is the bubble, this is the thing, right? But yes, you're at Internet 2000, right? But and it's all going to crash. Well, look what happened like 2001, 2002, right? When like this is the era when like Google and Amazon and everybody else was founded. They came out of that first round of innovation to make companies that have lasted this long and have gained that much foothold in the world. But in this aspect, right, we're saying that we're going to have the same amount of the same amount of growth. We're going to have the same amount of infrastructure, but we're going to decentralize it all, right? We're just going to like open it back up to the people.
Exactly.
And that's what really excites me about it all.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. One of the coolest things I was just thinking about as you were talking about this is I don't know why, but it came to my mind, which is OpenSea for music. Like, I'm not sure if we have that yet, but OpenSea for music, I feel like that would be so interesting. Not being able to own a piece of song, and I know a lot of people are already doing NFTs for songs, but that has not been fully like embraced yet. I feel like personally, right now we've just been talking about images, right? Just NFT art, but I feel like that's gonna grow a lot bigger with. Let me see here, or maybe that David Kahn can come on. Let me see the speaker here. Let me see if I can bring you in here. Add as a speaker. Yeah. No. Okay.
Yeah. Like music is definitely one of those great spaces. In fact, like I work with a group called The Covenant. They do a lot of they do a lot of NFT music exclusively.
Wow, that's cool.
And so I've been able to learn like a lot from these guys, like Quasi. I can see him right here. Like he kind of brought me into that fold. And so I've been learning a lot about the NFT music space. And you're right, like it's like I see that as like games and music are the next really big areas that are going to take off. Like the next really big areas, because I know that there are like there's a lot of there are apps to play blockchain music, right? But it just scratched the surface.
Yeah,
it just scratched the surface. Like there's a couple of apps out there, but everyone's still kind of learning what they can do, how they can interact with NFTs and music, because and I see a lot of like people talking about making the artist like their own label, right? Like giving the power back to the artist.
That's so cool.
And that's the big thing that happened with like the art NFTs, like JPEG NFTs and everything, right? Like we gave power back to the creatives, right? Like
finally,
it went directly. Finally, like I've been a creative as long as I've been a developer, and I have to say it is nice. It is so nice to finally have like a field that I can be a creative in and make a living. It's like it blows me away. Everything about this really is fascinating.
Yeah.
It's so fascinating.
Yeah, yeah, it's what what we used to happen. It's like, a lot of these people who are artistic, we used to have like this thing called like the starving artist, right? I feel like now this is an opportunity for so many people to just get out, and if you are an artist, you are finally, I feel like, could be. I mean, you were always valued, but what I'm trying to get to is now it's more mainstream. The fact that your art can be on the blockchain, the fact that your art can, you can just sell your art and and actually make a good potential living on that, right? That is so different than before, right? It's like, it's like when the internet came along and they gave access to so many potential things, so many things to, between Amazon to be able to sell products online and so many things. Before, imagine this, we can only sell products, in stores, right? Or, from hand-to-hand exchange. The internet came along and boom, we can now sell online and go to such a bigger audience. With the NFT space, for some reason now that has mainstreamed art and beautiful art, and so many artists can finally be represented when they should have been a long time ago.
Yeah, something else too, like with NFTs, right? Like you were talking a little bit earlier about how like the blockchain is kind of just kind of terminology, and NFTs have really kind of given a face to everything that we're doing. The same thing goes with like. I see down here, Mr. Cezanne and Born, right? They have actually been kind of they've been teaching me about trading, right? Like, and I was actually like sitting down with Mr. Cezanne, and we first looked into an NFT marketplace, and he started kind of going over how it works.
That's
and,
awesome.
Like. I tried to do stocks and not financial advice, but I tried to do like stocks and stuff before, and like I just couldn't get into it. But we started looking at these pictures, and like everything was so visual, and I was like, oh, that's how it works. So literally, like something that I just could not wrap my head around before, I picked up in like an afternoon because. There were pictures attached, right? Like we're such visual creatures that it's a no-brainer that this is the thing that really started getting people's attention on the blockchain.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, we could talk about this for days. Like this to me, this to me is always such an exciting portion about being in this space. And it just excites me to continue, seeing where else it can bring us, what else we can do, NFTs, actually doing NFT projects, NFT contracts, for everything, maybe your lease is an NFT contract. I don't know, it can be so many different things around.
It could be a scavenger hunt.
It could be a scavenger hunt, exactly.
Nothing.
Yeah, and even games, because for example, personally, I've never been like a game guy. Like I never liked games. For some reason, I was never into it. There's only one game that actually got me really hooked, and maybe you guys can guess. I don't know. There's only one game that got me hooked, and that was Call of Duty. No other game got me ever hooked, But when the NFTs came along, I finally understood like, oh, this is so interesting. Like by tying in the development side of things, NFT side of things, I don't know, I got a lot more interested in games. And, in my mind, I'm just like, oh, that'd be so cool to create a game, at some point. Like I never had that mindset before. Just never. For me, it's always been, oh, well, it's a game. But now, when you got NFTs in, oh, it's so much more interesting now,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But before, I know we kind of slid into NFTs, and it's a very interesting topic. A lot of us here are also like developers, of course, or trying to become developers. I kind of want to talk about, how do you put yourself out there, right? So, we talked about how you can go ahead and, learn the basics, fundamentals of blockchain. Mm-hmm. Then from there, go into building maybe potentially your first NFT project. Okay. Now, how do you put yourself out there? What do you do to now get a job potentially, get a client, that kind of stuff? What's next?
Community.
Community. Okay.
It's time to start finding community. I find that like there are two main tools for community right now that I've seen. Of course, again, I'm very heavy into like Nas. I'm very heavy into the NFT space, right? But I found overall that like Twitter is like the blockchain hub for me, especially in the NFT space. Um, Twitter and Discord, like these are the places. Like it's really it's starting to talk about the blockchain and like posting what you're learning, right? Start building that social proof that you're actually learning in the field and that you're becoming a developer. Um, that and it's also like it's kind of good browsing later to see how far you've come, right?
Yeah.
Like it's always kind of cool to kind of look at your milestones. Um, but that would be my thoughts on the next step, right? Now it's time to start connecting with people,
Mm-hmm.
talking to others that are into the space or that are just doing what you want to do, right? Like, just meet people because Web3 is all about community.
Yeah, all about computing. And honestly, I agree with that. And this community is very kind of lenient. And what I mean by that is, even if they see that you're just trying, you're just getting into it, they accept you right away. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like for me, for example, the way I got into it was almost like personally was almost like not a mistake, but how can I say this? Accidentally, weirdly enough, because pretty much my whole goal was for me just to learn blockchain, was just to learn some NFT stuff. And as I started to interact with people, as I started to post about what I'm learning, about what I'm doing on Twitter, on Instagram, and places like these, all of a sudden people just started to come in. People started to come in. Hey Nas, can you do an NFT project for us? Hey Nas, can you do this NFT project for us? Hey Nas, can you do this kind of stuff for us? Right? And all of a sudden I started to meet and I met some amazing people, on this journey. I met one of the first guys who was in the NFT space, right? And so many other great, influencers and so forth. And it all just started out with just sharing what you're doing. So I feel like for everybody here, if you're getting into it, right, it's honestly there's no magic pill. There's no magic thing that you could just do and get a job or whatever it might be. Starting into it, start learning, and whatever it is you're learning, as you're learning it, as you're doing it, start sharing it. Social
yeah,
media is gonna be your best friend. Period. I believe that. In this space especially. What do you think, Lem?
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, sharing what you're doing, just getting that social proof out there.
Yeah.
You'll start meeting people. You'll start, connecting with others that are in the space. And even for me, right, like it was through those connections that I found, my communities that I hang out in all the time now.
Yeah.
So and it's not hard to do. It's people like Nas said, the people are very forgiving and they're very welcoming.
Yeah.
So it's honestly yeah. I could glow about the community at Web3 like all day long.
Yeah. It's just that this kind of stuff takes up time. That's it.
Yeah.
Josie, you had a question? Josie, you asked to become a speaker. Josie, if you have a question, just make sure that you unmute yourself. Because if you don't, then I can't hear you, Josie. Or no. Yeah. That's
I don't know. I'm just gonna kind of chill and listen. Just want to say what's up. Thanks for having me. Second of all, are you guys talking about becoming a developer? Is that the space? I just
Yeah.
wanted clarity
Yeah.
on what exactly the space was.
Exactly. It's becoming a blockchain developer. Yes.
Okay, even if you don't have any developing experience.
Exactly.
Okay, all right. Yeah, you can put me back down. I'm just gonna be chilling or leave me up. I mean, I'll probably have some questions, but
You got
I'll
it.
mute it and just kind of hang out and lurk.
For sure,
a
for
little bit.
sure, for sure. Yeah, for sure. I mean, we been talking about this for about an hour now, but so definitely, when we're done with this, definitely feel free to re-listen to this whole thing. It's gonna be recorded. So, but as we said, it's basically just about learning the fundamentals, learning the JavaScript, learning the Solidity portions. We talked about going all these different websites between like Dapp University, learning from them those fundamentals, building your first NFT project because that's a great way to get into it if you want to, and then after that, just start putting what you're learning online. And honestly, another great way you guys can go ahead and start exploring opportunities is going into Discord groups communities. Morales has a great one. Ethereum has its own amazing great one, right? Just by answering questions in there, you can get so many potential opportunities.
Yeah,
so many
absolutely.
potential opportunities. And that's what this space is about. This space is not your usual potential like apply for a job. And yes, that happens too. You can just simply apply for a job and then get it. Okay? That's one of the ways. But another great way is you have to kind of be social a bit more than usual in this kind of space. Wouldn't you say that, Lem?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Lem, my kind of my last question is kind of like, well, actually not my last question, but it's for you. It's gonna be, what are the must things you need to learn? For example, you have a job now at Gala Games. Okay, what is the absolute thing you needed to learn to get that position?
The thing that I needed to learn most. That's a good question. I mean, I would say there's a couple of things that kind of lined up into me getting into the position, but I honestly believe that the thing that really got me into the position was it was like the work that I've done, right? It's building a project. It's being able to show your work.
What kind of project are we talking? Because I want to get them to specifics. Yeah. What kind of project are we talking?
So, like start with. I mean, as we were saying before, like NFTs are a really good way to kind of get into blockchain. So I started with just building some simple NFT projects, right?
Mm-hmm.
I built. I first built a standard contract, and then I started playing with the mechanics a little bit, right? Like I started adding in some tokenomics. That kind of taught me about that, right? Like you build small projects and you build on top of what you're learning, and that helps you get to bigger things.
Mm-hmm.
And what really helped me get the job is the fact that I could speak my mind about what I've done.
Mm-hmm.
Right, like I had examples. Like I had, I was able to come to conversation with things that I've tried. Right, like I think a really big reason that I got the position was that I was talking about things in blockchain, not blockchain, but NFTs that they were looking to try themselves.
Like,
right, like let's see, like the meta transactions,
mm-hmm.
right? Like that was like that was a big ooh-ah. Or let's see, what else was there? I'm on the spot now, so I can't think of anything, but
yeah. I mean, gasless transactions is one thing, right? That's another. A lot of people haven't figured that portion out yet. Luckily, we've been able to figure out at least some part of it, right? But that's a lot of people are starting to get into because it's a very easy way to transition people from the Web 2 space to Web 3 space. So that's one thing you can definitely learn. And unfortunately, there's not a lot of knowledge around it right now / teaching. So hopefully we can change that at some point. Hopefully I'll make a YouTube tutorial actually teaching that. That could be cool. But what else, Lem?
Let's see. I'm trying to think of like the various. Oh, and like being passionate about what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like build projects that you're passionate about, because it's going to be the stuff that you're going to want to list that you've done, It's going to be the stuff that you're going to want to show, and it's going to be the stuff that you're going to want to talk about.
Yeah.
And that's honestly what they're looking for is your passion around the topic, not only your knowledge of the topic, but your passion for it.
Yeah.
You have to show that you're super passionate about what you're doing, because we're in the Wild West phase right now, right? Like, and you have to be like so passionate to be able to, there's, documentation is not, always the best. And, there's things that you can run into, but it's that passion for what you're doing that keeps you going every day, that makes you excited to do it every day. That's the kind of thing you're looking for.
Yeah, exactly. And they're willing to pay for it too.
Yeah.
So amazing. Awesome. So I think, that's some amazing kind of knowledge. And of course, Rahul, you raised your hand. You had a question. Did you have a question for Lem, or you have a question for us? Rahul?
Yeah, sir, I have a question.
First, go ahead.
Sir, I am new to this developing sector. So can you tell me which all should I learn to become a blockchain developer? Which all courses, programming languages, like that things?
For sure. So we talked about that in the beginning of the Twitter space. So definitely, re-listen to the Twitter space, where we chat about, some technologies you need to learn. But the biggest thing, Rahul, is Solidity and JavaScript. And where you can learn it are spaces like DAP University, Eat the Blocks on YouTube. We also have CryptoZombies.io, another amazing space, to learn that too. That's just some of the things you can do to learn that knowledge.
I'm new to this programming language sector. So how should I learn a programming language? Is it studying learning that full basics, or completely studying or doing by projects?
You need to learn the basics first, and then and then get into projects. Wouldn't you agree, Lem?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would say a great space for figuring out, really getting your feet wet in the programming space is Free Code Camp is a really, really good resource for just kind of getting your fundamentals down, right? Because you're going to have to learn your programming basics, to really get started.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's one good resource. But yeah, like the first step is to learn like the fundamentals of programming, like what's an if statement, right? Like,
Yeah.
like
100%.
what logic is, or what conditional statements are, right? Just the basic terminology. And a site like that is a great way to kind of get your feet wet and see if it's something that that really excites you, right? Because it's going to be I don't like to sugarcoat it for people, because it's going to be a process to learn to code and to become a proficient developer. But you have to be excited about it every day, right? In order to really make it.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's a good resource for being able to see if that excitement is there for you.
Yeah, exactly. And if you guys are interested in, of course, I'm not trying to sell anything here, but I also teach NFT projects too. So if you guys are ever interested in because it's a good resource too. If you guys are interested in doing NFT projects, or you guys are interested in getting into the blockchain space, I do like NFT workshops, I do NFT trainings, blockchain trainings, and it kind of all comes in together as like the fundamentals plus like doing the projects as well. So if you guys are interested in that, feel free to just kind of DM me, and I can send you some more info as well. But apart from that, I kind of want to ask the last question here, Lam, because I want to figure out, what do you see as the future of this? Where do you see the future moving forward, 2025 to 2030? Where are we at with NFTs? Where are we at with blockchain? How does this all work out? Tell me.
I'm actually gonna go with what I'm seeing now, and kind of pattern matching a little bit, because what I see every day now is my son playing Roblox with his friends, right? Spending his Robux, for his avatar, right? Sounds really familiar. I honestly see, like, in the next 10, 20 years, that the metaverse is going to get a lot bigger. Like, there's people that say, of course, there's the folks that have a hard time believing that the metaverse is something that's going to stick. or
Hmm.
that it's a phase or a fad. But I like to tell them that it's already here. Like my kid plays in the metaverse every day. We're just catching up.
Crazy, crazy. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's one of the things I've realized as well. And when I went to the NFT LA conference, and I realized one thing there, and I thought NFTs was a thing, but I realized it's not. I realized metaverse is the thing actually. That's the next thing. Because everybody who was there was pairing NFTs with metaverse. They were selling land in the metaverse. They were doing games in the metaverse that pair up with NFTs. There was a poker game in the metaverse. Everything. In one of my friends, for example, he has a coaching business, and where he teaches, how to do coaching and how to do crypto and stocks, and he coaches in the metaverse. Like it's crazy. If you get into his coaching, program, he sends you a VR, a virtual reality, VR goggles. you know, they have their own house in the metaverse. It's a humongous house. It's got a bunch of NFTs on the walls and stuff like that. And then they have rooms where you go to learn stocks. How crazy is that? That to me was just, I was like, when I thought about that initially, I was like, oh, metaverse is just a bunch of, it's a bunch of cool words. It's just a talk. But I realized I'm like, it's not. That is the next thing that's gonna really take off. So for game developers out there, for 3D developers out there, for those of you who are artistic and are drawing for games, oh man, you guys are about to get really busy.
Yeah.
That's one thing I'll say. Yeah, that to me is the exciting part. But yeah, Alem, any final remarks you have for the people in this space? And it's been an amazing space, by the way. 32 people or some sort. A lot of amazing conversations. So many people, are interested in the space, who want to go into it. Any final remarks you have, Lem, for us?
Have fun.
Have fun.
Have fun. Like, this is we're building the future right now. So if this is the future that we want to have, we have to have fun doing it, or else it's not worth it.
Hold on. This requires some kind of a thing. Hold on. Can I try this?
Yeah.
Did you guys hear that? That was a good closing remark. Hopefully you guys heard that, right? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. I'm testing out this whole thing, so we'll see. Awesome, guys. So in that case, this has been an amazing Twitter space with Lem. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming along. Thank you, Lem. Give Lem a round of applause, please. Your hearts. Appreciate everybody being in here. Amazing talk, amazing conversations. Let me know, guys. Tweet at me who next that you want me to talk to. If you have an idea who you would love to have, come on the Twitter space, talk about blockchain, talk about NFTs, just tweet at me, at Naz Demansky, and just let me know. I'm really curious to see who would you like to talk to. I'm actually trying to get a few NFT projects to come on the Twitter space as well, to talk about how they've grown, their NFT projects, what they see the future in NFTs. So I'll be bringing on a few more people. Oh, looks like we have Alex who's trying to add as a speaker. Alex, feel free to come on, and if you have a question or something. Let me see here. Do you guys hear the music, by the way? Do you guys hear the music?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, dang. Is it clean or no?
Yeah.
Oh, dang. Alex, you were gonna say something, Alex?
Yes. Well, that amazing podcast, amazing conversation. I am very excited about that, about the new technology is coming, metaverse, Web3 developers. Right now, I am now Web3 developer with NAS.
Nice.
This is this thing. I meet a lot of friends working in this technology. We have a lot of work to do. The metaverse is coming.
and the future is right now, guys.
Yes. Exactly. Very nice closing there, remark, Alex. Awesome, guys. So at this point, guys, thank you so much for coming along.
Good
Ho-
to see you, Wade.
see,
Talk to you later.
yes, thank you all so much. Hope you have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Woo! Hey, dun 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 dun. Hey. I love this song, by the way. Bye, everybody. Bye.